Rhythm is really the foundation of music. So when we're talking about improvisation or just playing in general, one of the things that we can do to guarantee some progress in our playing is to get better at rhythm. Because if your foundation is not strong, then of course, whatever you build upon that is going to be weak also. So there are some ways that we can improve our rhythm, and I've been thinking about this idea a lot as I try to communicate principles and ideas about improvisation and how to become a more fluent and creative improviser and soloist and player in general. So in my searching, I've found some books that are really helpful, and the one that I'm looking at today is called Progressive Steps to Syncopation for the Modern Drummer. And clearly, as the title indicates, it's a book for drummers specifically, but I find that it has a bunch of really great rhythmic ideas that we can apply in a unique way to the guitar to help us improve our rhythms and our rhythmic playing in a systematic way. So I've been practicing through some of these exercises, applying the rhythms to specific patterns on the guitar. So I'm going to share some of what I'm doing today with you in this video and show you how we can practice everything from scales to arpeggios, chords, in a rhythmic framework that helps us develop our rhythm first and foremost, but simultaneously is helping us to master some of the fundamental patterns of the guitar. So we are going to focus on a single area of the neck, and this is one shape that you might know as the C-shaped from a caged system perspective, or I think of it as one of the big three triad shapes, because there is really, in my view, the way I see the neck, there's three big triad shapes that move across all 6 strings, and those are sufficient for doing anything you want to do on guitar. I haven't really expanded greatly on that idea because I'm still trying to understand how best to communicate it, but I will be trying to do that in the future. But for today, we're just going to focus on the C shape, and that's going to be up here. I'm going to play this G chord. At the 10th fret of the 5th string is my root note, my G. And then I've got the 9th fret of the 4th string, 7th fret of the 3rd string, 8th fret of the 2nd string, and the 7th fret of the 1st string. So I've got this basic shape here, and from here I can play a number of things. I can play a pentatonic scale. I can play a major scale. I can play an arpeggio. And I can just play the chord. And I can manipulate notes in the chord to create different chords. All based on this one shape. So we're going to take that shape and we're going to dive into it with some rhythms. So I got a new whiteboard that is going to help me present some of the ideas that I'm trying to teach. And what I've done is I've written down 15 different rhythms using triplets and quarter notes. And this is directly from lesson 6 from this book I showed you. And this book is $10 online. I got it from Amazon. You can get it from many other distributors, but I think it would be worth your while if you try to internalize the concept that we're talking about. Not just the exercises that I'm going to show you today, but just the basic idea, because if you get this book and you go through, you open it to a certain page, say, there's eighth notes and quarter note combinations, triplets, 16th notes, dotted 16th notes, all these different rhythms, and you just take the rhythms that are written and then apply it to different patterns that you're learning. It's going to help you learn those patterns in a more musical way, and certain rhythms are going to stand out to you. and they're going to sound better, or you might not like one as much, but those are things that you can incorporate into your playing. And if you're doing them over different patterns that you're learning, you're not just learning rote patterns that are kind of stale in and of themselves. You're putting them into a context that is going to translate much more quickly into musical ideas and better solos and improvisation. So the basic idea is, well, I'm going to show you the basic idea, starting with a pentatonic scale in this position. So this is, this would be like shape 4 of your minor pentatonic, E minor pentatonic, or G major. But basically, I'll play it really slow so that you can just see the notes I'm playing. So I'm going to start from the top because I'm going to be descending in this exercise as I go through these rhythms. So here I have on the first string, 10th fret, 7th fret, second string, 10th fret, 8th fret, third string, 9th fret, 7th fret, fourth string, 9th fret, 7th fret, fifth string, 10th fret, 7th fret, 6th string, 10th fret, 7th fret. So if you're familiar with that scale and you have it under your fingers already, great, you'll be set up to do this exercise. But if you're not as familiar, I would suggest that you just pause the video, take a few minutes to run this scale up and down, just to get the basic shape under your fingers so that you can feel comfortable as we go through these different rhythms. So we're going to start by going through each of these rhythms written on the whiteboard, starting at number 1. And we're going to repeat each of them 4 times. And one note about the different rhythms is that the first 4 have one group of triplets for one of the beats, and then 3 quarter notes arranged in different ways. You can see if you look at 1, 2, 3, and 4, the triplets are just moving from beat 1 to beat 2 to beat 3 to beat 4. It's pretty simple how it's set up, but you'll notice that each of them has a different feel, like I said before. Then when we move to the next groups, there's 2 groupings of triplets and then 2 quarter notes. So we're adding some notes, so we're going to move a little farther down the scale at that point. As we go on, then 8 and 9 are 3 groups of triplets and 1 quarter note in each measure. So we're adding a couple more notes. We'll go further down the scale, and then number 10 is triplets all the way through. You can see here number 10, it's triplets on all 4 beats. So that's going to be, it lines up with the pentatonic scale, so we'll be playing every note in the pentatonic scale going from top to bottom, and then we'll jump back to the top and do that. And then 11 through 15 are combinations of either 2 groups of triplets or 3 groups of triplets, filling in some of the gaps at what we didn't do in the first 9 exercises. So this is going to be, I'm going to play this as a full exercise. I'm not going to stop to explain any of it, but I'm just going to put on a metronome and do it slowly, because practicing slowly is how we build the ability to play faster. That may sound very simple, but I'll tell you from my experience, when I try to practice at the very edge of my ability, I make mistakes. And if I do that too much, I internalize those mistakes, and then when I'm performing or trying to solo, I end up making those same mistakes that I practiced. So over time, what I've learned is to be a little humbler, slow down more than I think that I need to, so I can really focus on the timing of my rhythm so that I know that I'm playing it perfectly. And then when I feel like I've done it perfectly or as close to perfect as I feel comfortable with, then I increase the tempo. So we're going to start very slow, because people of different levels will be watching this video and hopefully playing along with me. If any of these catch you and cause difficulty for you, just pause the video and play through them a couple times, then try to go back and start from a couple of rhythms before that so that you can hit that in sequence with the other rhythms. So last thing before I start with the pentatonic scale, we're going to do this exact same thing with a few different patterns. So all in this basic shape that I showed you already. So without any further talking, I'm just going to jump into this exercise. I'll call out the numbers. I hope that you can see these rhythms up here. I have a PDF printout with these rhythms available for you on my website. If you're viewing this elsewhere, you can follow a link in the description to get to my website where I have this video posted, and I also have the PDF that you can look at or print out in order to be able to follow along with these rhythms in case you can't really read what's on the whiteboard there. So let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Now number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. Number 10. Eleven. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. there's the complete exercise at 65 beats per minute using the pentatonic scale. So one thing I noticed while I was doing that is that my rhythm is not perfect. Sometimes I'm pushing a little bit, playing a little faster, or pulling back, playing a little slower, and I have to recenter myself. So for practicing this, it's really important that you use a metronome. And for me, when I play with the metronome, I feel more motivated. It's like I can practice longer. And I don't always practice with a metronome because it's important to also practice without one. But if you are not in the habit of using a metronome, I could not suggest it more. I could not recommend it more to get comfortable with the metronome. And when you're playing with a metronome, you should be trying not as much to think about all the things that you're playing. Of course, you have to do that somewhat, but once the patterns are ingrained, you can really just listen to the sound of the metronome, listening to the evenness of the beats, and try to execute as close to that as you can. There's always going to be some variation because, unlike a metronome, I am a human, and so are you, and we are not robotic. And that's one of the things that makes music played by humans beautiful, is that there's imperfections. But the metronome is going to help you just align your rhythm properly. So one note is that if you think that playing fast is the hardest thing, sometimes you should try playing extremely slow and see if you can even do it. It can actually be really challenging to play slowly with good time feel. So exploring both ends of the spectrum when you're practicing is a good habit to make you a more well-rounded player in your rhythmic competence. So the next thing that I want to do with this is to take the same pattern or the same area and fill in some of the notes from the pentatonic scale to make a major scale. And we're just going to stay in that same exact area. We're going to stay with the descending pattern starting at the top note, that fifth on top. But now our scale is going to be filled in with a couple of notes that we did not play in the pentatonic scale. So I'll just go through that scale really quick before we go through the exercise again with this new pattern. And for those who maybe aren't as familiar with this scale, I'm going to be doing what we would call an in position shape. So that means I'm doing 3 notes on 5 of the strings, but on the 3rd string I'm only going to play 2 notes, and that keeps me in this same basic position. So starting from the top going down, I've got the 10th fret on the 1st string, 8th fret, 7th fret. Then on the 2nd string, 10th fret, 8th fret, 7th fret. On the 3rd string, 9th fret, 7th fret. On the 4th string, 10th fret, 9th fret, 7th fret. On the 5th string, 10th fret, 9th fret, 7th fret. On the 6th string, 10th fret, 8th fret, 7th fret. So if I play that slowly, that's my scale I'm working with now. And we'll just go back through all of these rhythms and do the same exact thing. And it will turn out a little bit differently because we have some extra notes. All right, let's do it. So here's our metronome again at 65 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 'So that was the same exercise, same rhythmic pattern, obviously, just on a different scale pattern. My goal in this lesson is to just help you, one, start thinking about rhythms and how you can practice them in new ways. Two, to increase your familiarity with a vital and important part of the neck, no matter what key you're in. This can, of course, move anywhere. That's one of the beauties of guitar, is that transposing is not very difficult. If I wanted to make this a different key, go to the key of E, D, C, anything. I could do the same. So I've got that available to me, but this basic pattern is super helpful and one of the 3 big patterns that I use all the time, as I alluded to before. Now we're going to go beyond scales and we're going to look at an arpeggio pattern on G major, same exact shape. We're just going to apply these same rhythms to a G major arpeggio. So now we're just picking out the notes that are in the major triad, so the 1st, 3rd, and 5th of the G major scale. I'm just going to start down here. This is where our patterns are going to start for this exercise. We're going to start on G, 5th string, 10th fret. The arpeggio is this. 5th string, 10th fret to the 4th string, 9th fret. 3rd string, 7th fret, 2nd string, 8th fret, 1st string, 7th fret, 1st string, 10th fret. If we go back down that, we get back down to G. We're also going to have the 10th fret on the 6th string when we get to rhythm number 10, where we are, oh, there it is, where we're playing a stream of eighth notes, or of triplets, sorry. That's going to be our pattern, doing that full arpeggio through the entire shape in this position. So I'm going to just go through now. Well, I'll play that arpeggio slowly once just so you could follow along. Again, like before, if you need to stop and play this a few times to get it under your fingers, go ahead and do that. I'm just going to play it nice and slow, starting with G. Notice the fingering I'm using. I'm using my fourth finger, third finger, first finger, second finger, first finger, fourth finger. And then when I go down to here, I'm using my third finger. Okay, so I'll turn the metronome back on here and we will start with rhythm number 1. 1, 2, ready, go. So this is rhythm number 2. Number 4. Number 5. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. arpeggios in all the different permutations of triplets and quarter notes. One thing I should have mentioned before doing all of this was the basic way to count triplets. There are some different ways. You can simply say triplet, triplet, or any other word that has 3 syllables. I prefer to say 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a. And the only problem with that is that typically when we say the and of a beat, we're talking about the second eighth note of the beat. So we count eighth notes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And eighth notes are dividing each beat into 2 parts, whereas triplets are dividing it into 3. So if you're saying 1 and a, 2 and a, that and is not the same in the same spot as it would be if you're counting eighth notes. That never was a problem for me, but that is how I tend to count it, because I can still say the beat number that I'm on. That's easier for me. You can do whatever you'd like, whatever gets you to feel them properly, because in the end it doesn't matter how you count a rhythm, it matters how you play it. So that is all I'll say about that. The other thing to keep in mind as you're doing this, which I was not really paying attention to, though I sort of do it naturally, but this is accents. We want to typically accent the strong beats. So you want to put an accent on, say, beat 1 and beat 3. That's a great way to do this while you're practicing. So if I was doing, say, number 8, and I was accenting beat 1 and beat 3, I would try to attack the first note of on beat 1 and on beat 3 a little sharper than the rest, just to clearly kind of exaggerate it. So 1. Oops. Let me try that again. So number 8, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're accenting the strong beats, you are going to have a good feel of how the rhythm moves through the measure. You're marking those strong points in the measure so that your time feel is going to be laid out properly. Playing with accents is a very fun and great sounding way to make your solos more interesting by putting them in unexpected places. But when you're practicing, it's definitely good to think about accents on the strong beats. But just know that as you play, you might want to play with accenting. It's a little more of a subtle, more advanced concept, but you can create some very interesting feelings by accenting on different beats and different subdivisions. So something to keep in mind as you're practicing. That's all that I wanted to show you today. You can apply the same exercise to chords, but I'm not going to do that in this video. But if you wanted to, you could do this exact same thing, and I'll show you how real quick. So if I was to take rhythm number 1 and play this chord here, I could just play rhythm on that rhythm on strumming on this one chord, like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one way to do it. When I was practicing some chordal stuff, I felt like playing 2 different chords worked a little better for me. I liked how it sounded better. So you could pair together 2 chords that are close to each other in the scale, like this G major and this A minor. So I could go and so on through the different the different rhythms of the workout. That would be a way to do it. One note about strumming triplet patterns is that you end up with some funny picking directions. So when I was just doing that, I was going down, up, down, down again to get back on my down, up strumming pattern. There's different ways you can do it, but just know that you might end up in some situations where it feels a little goofy. That's okay. You can figure it out and practice your chords with this kind of method as well. For me, the way I see it is rhythm is kind of the central unifying thing that all musicians need to work on. They need to master to some degree in order to be a competent musician. And out from there, you have things like your scales, arpeggios, and chords, which are kind of like the three foundational technical aspects of an instrument like the guitar or the piano, where we have polyphonic capabilities, meaning we can play more than one note at a time. We can play, obviously, monophonic, just one note at a time, but we can also play polyphonic. We can play harmony and stuff. So scales, chords, and arpeggios are the areas technically that you need to focus on. There are other subtle things like articulations, time feel, which is wrapped up in rhythm, but and then techniques like bends and slides and vibrato. All these things are kind of periphery to the really core important aspects of learning guitar, rhythm being of utmost importance. That's the top. Then from there, you use rhythm to play scales so that you can know what notes are going to sound right over any given situation. Same with arpeggios. You can create different types of motion than you can with scale by skipping notes. And then chords, which for me, when I think of chords, I'm thinking of any two notes or more that are being played simultaneously. So that for me includes intervals. It includes obviously full chords from triads to seventh chords to extended chords and to superimposing chords over root notes to make more dense sounding harmony. But if you've got your rhythm, if you're really working on your rhythm, you can get away with less of the scales, chords, and arpeggios, because what you do know you'll be able to use so much more effectively than if you know a lot of scales, but your rhythm is really lacking. So that's where I would just really encourage you to focus on your rhythm every single day. Take these rhythms and play with them. Get a copy of this book, Progressive Steps to Syncopation for the Modern Drummer. Check out other drumming books because they have lots of rhythm in them. Some of them where they're doing like stickings and stuff are not as important for us, but when you have a bunch of different rhythms present, you can take any of those and make your own exercises to master different things. The other thing and the final thing I'll say is just be honest with yourself about where you're at. Don't be hard on yourself, but be honest. Say, if you can't play through all the pentatonic shapes and feel comfortable in them, then stop playing the one that you know really well. Start practicing the one that you know the least. And focus laser-like on that one thing for as long as it takes till you feel as comfortable there as you do in your primary shapes. Then get major scales. Learn major scales in a couple positions, or if you already feel really comfortable in kind of the easier positions, find the in-between positions. Get those. And then once you know your major scales, then the modes are easy to learn because you already know the patterns. You just have to train your ear to hear things a little bit differently in order to play in each of those modes of the major scale. With chords, you want your major and minor chords for sure. Those are first. Once you get those, learning the basic types of seventh, the 5 basic types of seventh chords would be the next place to go. But I'm just saying this because this is kind of the general roadmap of what you need to know to be a versatile guitar player that can play everything from pop to jazz to country to soul, R&B, and everything in between, folk, rock, whatever. Some of these styles, you don't need all of that I mentioned. In fact, a lot of them are very simplified, and so you can get by with just a major scale and major and minor chords, and that's enough. It depends what you want to do with music, but my goal is always, as a player, to be really versatile, to be able to play anything except for hyper specialized types of music like flamenco guitar. I don't think I'll ever learn how to do that, but as far as it goes with modern electric guitar playing and acoustic guitar playing, I play everything, and I love all kinds of music, and so I just wanted to lay out that basic framework and reiterate how important rhythm is, because rhythm is the heart of your musical abilities. So I hope this has been helpful for you to think about rhythm in some new ways, and I really have been enjoying this practice style for myself as I've been preparing for this lesson. So I'm going to keep practicing this way and keep bringing some more ideas that I think will be helpful for you to develop your own rhythmic competence. And that is my hope for you watching this, that you can develop more confidence and competence in your playing to see what you can come up with. What does your voice sound like? Would love to hear. You can leave me a comment or send me an email at trent@practicemakesbettermusic.com. If you have any questions, or if you just want to share, or if you want to send me a video of you playing and ask for some tips, I'm happy to help. That's why I'm doing this, because I want to help as many people as possible. And I want to say thank you to all the people that watch my videos, that have subscribed to my YouTube channel and my mailing list at practicemakesbettermusic.com, and who leave me comments. I appreciate all of you, and I hope that we can spread the word, and this can help more guitar players get through difficult parts of their playing and really push the boundaries of what they're capable of, so that you and they can enjoy music more fully. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and keep your eyes tuned for the next video.